Shishya. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Samstapakacharya, Savior of the whole world, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 16. Lord Parshurama destroys the ruling class. Text number 24. Swadeham Jamadagnistu Swadeham Jamadagnistu Labdva Samjnana Lakshanam Labdva Samjnana Lakshanam Labdva Samjnana Lakshanam Rishinam Mandale Sobhu Rishinam Mandale Sobhu Rishinam Mandale Sobhu Saptamo Rama Pujitaha Saptamo Rama Pujitaha Saptamo Rama Pujitaha Swadeham Jamadagnistu Labdva Samjnana Lakshanam Rishinam Mandale Sobhu Saptamo Rama Pujitaha Swadeham Jamadagnistu Labdva Samjnana Lakshanam Rishinam Mandale Sobhu Saptamo Rama Pujitaha Swadeham Jamadagnistu Labdva Samjnana Lakshanam Rishinam Mandale Sobhu Saptamo Rama Pujitaha Swadeham Jamadagnistu Labdva Samjnana Lakshanam Rishinam Mandale Sobhu Saptamo Rama Pujitaha Swadeham, his own body. Jamadagnihi, the great sage Jamadagni. To, but, Labdva, regaining. Samjnana Lakshanam, showing full symptoms of life, knowledge and remembrance. Rishina, of the great rishis. Mandale, in the group of 7 stars. Saha, he, Jamadagni, Abhut, later became Saptamaha, the 7th. Rama Pujitaha. Because of being worshipped by Lord Parshurama, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Thus Jamadagni, being worshipped by Lord Parshurama, was brought back to life with full remembrance, and he became one of the 7 sages in the group of 7 stars. Please repeat this translation after me. Thus Jamadagni, being worshipped by Lord Parshurama, was brought back to life with full remembrance, and he became one of the 7 sages in the group of 7 stars. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The 7 stars revolving around the pole star at the zenith are called Saptarshi Mandala. On these 7 stars, which form the topmost part of our planetary system, reside 7 sages: Kashyapa, Atri, Vasishta, Vishwamitra, Gautama, Jamadagni, and Bharadwaja. These 7 stars are seen every night, and they each make a complete orbit around the pole star within 24 hours. The upper portion of the universe is called the north, and the lower portion is called the south. Even in our ordinary dealings while studying a map, we regard the upper portion of the map as north. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasavi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter has described the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Lord Parshurama, destroying the ruling class because of their disobedience to the Brahmanical culture. Now, even though Lord Parshurama is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to teach us that killing is not a very good activity, even though sometimes it is necessary, still, he went to a holy place after getting rid of all the Kshatriyas from the face of the earth 21 times. And he offered sacrifices to Lord Vasudeva, began worshipping Lord Vasudeva. And after completing the sacrifice, because Lord Parshurama had regained the earth from all these miscreant Kshatriyas. Kshatriya dharma is that if there is one Kshatriya who is not ruling properly, then another righteous Kshatriya will challenge. And after defeating that miscreant Kshatriya, the righteous Kshatriya will begin to rule properly according to dharma. So, Parshurama actually was not a Kshatriya, he was a Brahmana. But as a As a Supreme Lord, he doesn't belong to any of the social or spiritual orders. Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita, that even though Krishna only has created these 4 classes among the human beings or humans in the human society, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam. He says, I have created these 4 classes of human beings. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the 4 divisions of human society were created by me. Although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Tasya kartaram apimam vidhi akartaram avyayam. Krishna is not a member of any of the 4 divisions. Even though in his incarnation as Krishna, he appeared as the son of a Kshatriya, he appeared the son of Vasudeva. So he is sometimes referred to as a Kshatriya. And even as a Kshatriya, son of Vasudeva, later on he was ruling Dwarka. So that way also he was playing the role of a Kshatriya. But in Vrindavan, he is known as the son of Nanda Maharaj. He is considered a Vaishya. In his incarnation as Parashurama, he appeared as a son of Jamadagni, sage Jamadagni, Brahmana. So he was called as a Brahmana, known as a Brahmana. So the Supreme Lord may play the role of a Brahmana or a Kshatriya, or may play the role of a hog, Varaha. Because the earth was submerged in the filthy plutonic region, Rasatala. So it is the business of the hog to pick up something from a filthy place. So in order to perform his Leela, the Lord assumed the form of a boar and lifted the earth out of the Rasatala region and placed the earth back in its position in the orbit. So the Lord is neither a Kshatriya nor a Brahmana nor a living being of any category. He is the Supreme Soul. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Controller, the Supreme Brahman. And his position is Avyaya, unchangeable. So his position, he remains in his position as Supreme Lord. And he demonstrates this. In all incarnations, the Supreme Lord demonstrates his actual position as Supreme Lord. Even though Lord Parashurama appeared as a Brahmana, Brahmana cannot fight against powerful Kshatriyas. But Parashurama is not a Brahmana, he is a Supreme Lord. So he demonstrated that Supreme Lord is unlimitedly powerful. So single-handedly, he first fought against Kartavirya Arjuna and defeated his 17 Akshauhini divisions of army single-handedly. Because he is the Supreme Lord. And later, on the plea of taking revenge against the killing of his father by the sons of Kartivirya-Arjuna, he decided to destroy the ruling class. The real reason was the ruling class had become disobedient to Brahmanical culture. We worship Krishna by the prayer, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Krishna is the maintainer and protector and the topmost well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmanas. Here, Brahmana doesn't mean some particular class of people alone. It means the Brahmanical culture. And the Brahmanas is supposed to uphold the Brahmanical culture. So in order to protect this Brahmanical culture, the Supreme Lord incarnates time to time in this material world. And he destroys all the Dushkrutina. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam. So he protects the sadhus or the devotees or the divine natured persons, and he destroys vinashaya cha dushkrutam. He destroys all these miscreants, dushkrutina. Now, at the time when Lord Parshurama incarnated, these Kshatriyas had become dushkrutinas. Even when Krishna incarnated, so many demons posing as Kshatriyas, they had become a burden for the earth. So to get rid of the burden of the earth, the Supreme Lord destroys these burdensome miscreants. Now, Parshurama, in order to teach us, the business of killing is not a very good activity. So one has to atone for sinful activities. One has to atone for sinful activities. That's the prescription of the Shastras. Anybody, whoever the person may be, even though he is justified in killing, but killing is sinful. Killing is sinful. So, to teach us that one has to atone for sinful activities, Parshurama himself performed yajna. And in that yajna, because he was playing the role of a Kshatriya for the time being, so he engaged Brahmanas to perform the sacrifice on his behalf. And he had to give dakshina to the Brahmanas. So what dakshina did he give? He gave the eastern direction to the Hota as a gift. There are different categories of persons who do this sacrifice. Hota, Udgata, Advaryu, Brahma, etc. So he gave the Advaryu, the western direction, as a gift. So like this, he gave away all that he had conquered to all the different Brahmins. Then he is left with nothing because he didn't want to rule the earth. He didn't want to rule the earth. So what did he do? After having completed the sacrifices, he it's described during the sacrifice itself, he joined his father's head to the dead body and placed the whole body and head upon kusha grass. So, the body was revived and Jamadagni was brought back to life with full remembrance. Labdhva samjnana lakshanam. So the Supreme Lord is all powerful. He can do anything. So he decided to bring back to life his father's body. And it was brought back to life in such a way that Jamadagni got the full symptoms of life with knowledge and remembrance. Earlier it was described that Jamadagni's wife, because she committed adultery and hence became sinful, in order to purify her of sinful reaction of adultery, Jamadagni ordered his sons to kill her. So the brothers of Parashurama, they did not want to kill their mother. So they disobeyed. So Jamadagni, seeing that his sons are disobeying his order, he ordered Parashurama to kill his brothers and his mother, all of them, for the disobedience and the adultery, sin. Parashurama knew that his father is extremely powerful. So therefore, in order to actually not incur the wrath or anger of his father, he obeyed his father and killed his mother and his brothers. And when Jamadagni was pleased with this act, he asked, "What benediction do you want? You can take." He said, "Please revive my mother and brothers." But he also requested that they should not remember that I killed them. So they were revived without the remembrance of the past. Here, Jamadagni is being revived with remembrance. So only because of the all-powerful Lord, it is possible. All such actions are possible. And we should always remember the Supreme Lord has nothing to gain or lose by any such actions. His actions are not within the category of karma. We conditioned souls, we have so many aspirations, we have so many desires, we have so many reactions to actually undergo from the past activities. So therefore, we are always busy in performing different activities to fulfill our desires or to undergo the reactions of our past karma. But the Supreme Lord has nothing to do in terms of karma. Even his own duties, his responsibilities are carried out by his energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyancha Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate. He has nothing to do himself, but his energies carry out all his activities. But still, he is engaged in eternal pastimes with his devotees. Because even the devotees have nothing to do. Pure devotees, they have nothing to aspire for. They are beyond karma. They have no duties. Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita. Yastu atmaratireva syat atmatruptascha manavaha atmanyaiva cha santushta tasya karyam na vidyate. There is no duty for a person who is completely satisfied in the self, who is illuminated in the self, and who is takes pleasure in the self. Such a person, there is no duty. Who is such a person? Pure devotee of Krishna. Example of Atmarati, Atmatrupta, Prabhupada gives. Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was simply engaged in chanting Hare Krishna. Why? Because he has no duty to perform. Completely satisfied in Krishna consciousness. So he has no duty to perform. He has nothing to aspire for. He is not obligated to anybody. So he was always engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, and he was taking pleasure from this chanting, that chanting. Always satisfied, always happy, joyful. So even the devotees have nothing to do. Neither the Lord has anything to do, but both the devotees and the Supreme Lord are not inactive. They're always active. They're always active. So what is their activity if there are no duties? They are engaged in activities called Krishna's pleasure pastimes. Eko Devo Nitya Leela Anurakto. The one Supreme Lord is always engaged in his eternal pastimes. Always engaged, constantly, without any stoppage. What are those pastimes? The devotees want to serve Krishna for his pleasure. So in order to please him, they perform different kinds of service. And Krishna receives that service with great pleasure. And Krishna reciprocates. How does he reciprocate? He serves his devotees. Krishna is engaged in serving his devotees. So both Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and his devotees are engaged in serving each other. This is called bhakti. See, this aspect of bhakti people do not know. They think it's some sentiment, some feeling. Bhakti is beyond a sentiment or a feeling. Bhakti is factual activity on the spiritual plane, on the spiritual platform, in the spiritual dimension. Actual activity of the spiritual senses, of the spirit soul, of the spiritual mind, of the spiritual intelligence. This is bhakti. Engaged in devotional service. Both, the Lord is also engaged in devotional service. What is his devotional service? He is devoted to his devotees. He is devoted to his devotees. He says, I have sold myself to my devotees. and the property of my pure devotees. When Ambarish Maharaj was insulted by Durvasa Muni, so then Vishnu became very, very angry against Durvasa. So Vishnu immediately sent a Sudarshan Chakra to chastise this Durvasa Muni. Why? Because Vishnu is very, very, very attached to his devotee, Ambarish Maharaj. To all his devotees, all his pure devotees. So then, Durvasa Muni was sufficiently chastised by the Sudarshan Chakra. Then only because Ambarish Maharaj, he prayed to the Lord, kindly pardon this Durvasa Muni. So immediately, Vishnu said, okay. Because he is very attached to his devotees. This is his service to his devotee, to protect his devotee. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna, Krishna's dearmost devotee, his life was in danger. And Bhishma was determined to kill Arjuna, all the 5 Pandavas, and particularly Arjuna. So when Krishna saw that Arjuna's life is in danger, and he had taken a vow that he will not fight, he will not touch any weapons, he will not participate in fighting, he will just do the work of driving the chariot of Arjuna and directing Arjuna to fight. So Krishna was doing that. But when Arjuna's life was in danger, then he broke his promise and he took up weapon himself to protect Arjuna. He went to attack Bhishma. The Supreme Lord decides to attack somebody when that person's life is finished. There's no possibility that that person can be saved by anybody. But Bhishma himself surrendered to Krishna when he saw Krishna is coming to attack. Because Bhishma is a devotee. He said, what better or glorious death can I have? Better than anything else is to die at the hands of the Supreme Lord. So Bhishma surrendered. You want to kill me? I surrender to you. Please go ahead. Kill me. But Kshatriya conduct, if somebody surrenders, they should not be attacked, they should not be killed. So Krishna refrained from killing. See the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. But as a result of this, Arjuna's life was saved. Neither Bhishma died, nor Krishna had to kill Bhishma. But this whole Leela of Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna's life was saved. So the point is, Krishna is very, very, very attached to his devotees. He'll never allow anyone to harm his devotees. Never allow. So, Krishna is engaged in serving his devotees. And devotees are always engaged in serving Krishna. This is their eternal engagement. This is called bhakti. So bhakti is not only for the devotees, bhakti is also for Krishna. Bhakti is also for Krishna. And sometimes, even though Krishna relishes his devotees serving him, he accepts with great pleasure, joy, whatever service the devotees offer. But sometimes Krishna He thinks that my devotees are relishing more the service they are rendering to me than I get pleasure by accepting their service. So therefore, in order for Krishna himself to taste what is it that his devotees are relishing in serving him, he himself takes the position of a devotee. He himself comes as devotee, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he just doesn't come as just any devotee. He comes as his topmost devotee, Radharani. He appears as a devotee in the mood of Radharani. And as Radha serves Krishna, same way Chaitanya serves Krishna. So you may say Krishna is serving himself, but that is Krishna's extraordinary position, that even though he himself is the object of all service of his devotees, he can expand his own self and accept any position of any living entity without actually changing his position. Without changing his position. So whether he appears as a devotee, whether he appears as a boar, whether he appears as a king, a fish, any form, any position, his position actually is unchanged. His position is unchanged. At the same time, when he is playing the role of a devotee or a king, he plays that role perfectly, as if he is another person. He is not the Supreme Lord. So that is Krishna's greatness. That is Krishna's unique position. So, when he plays the role of the son of such and such a father, he does his duty as a son perfectly. So, Parshurama, he did his duty as the son of Jamadagni, and he even revived Jamadagni, brought him back to life in the same body, and with full remembrance and full knowledge. Generally, when we change bodies, we forget our past, and we also lose our knowledge, what we had cultivated in the past. That's why we send a child to school, no? Nobody remembers their past. Nobody carries forward their knowledge from the past. So therefore, they have to again cultivate knowledge. But for the Supreme Lord, there is no such thing as cultivating knowledge. For his devotee, the Lord may bless the devotee, that the devotee can remember the past, or the Lord can enlighten his devotee within one moment, can fully enlighten the devotee without the devotee separately any need for cultivating knowledge. So Krishna says that also in the Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Says, I enlighten my devotees. They're simply engaged in my devotional service constantly. I enlighten them. Even if they are illiterate, they are ignorant, they're not cultivating knowledge. No need. If they are engaged in my devotional service, that is enough. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if you chant Hare Krishna, Vidyavadhu Jivanam, you become enlightened, fully enlightened, simply by chanting Hare Krishna. Therefore, chanting Hare Krishna is complete and perfect. Just chanting Hare Krishna. But because we don't have that faith in the beginning, that chanting alone is sufficient and perfect, we get doubts. How by chanting I can become enlightened? So therefore, Acharyas give us instructions to also study such books like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Engage in varieties of other activities by which we may become enlightened, by which we may become purified, by which we may become pious, by which we may become austere. They give us so many other instructions. Along with chanting Hare Krishna, you also worship Krishna. You also hear about Krishna's glories. You also read, if you can read, these books, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So we are given other instructions of other activities to be performed so that we may become nicely fixed up in chanting Hare Krishna. Ultimately, we can only attain self-realization by chanting Hare Krishna. So we have to chant Hare Krishna, but in the beginning, the chanting alone is not sufficient. We have to augment this chanting with other activities. Therefore, there is prescription called sadhana bhakti. There are varieties of activities in sadhana bhakti. In fact, the variety is complete variety, engaging our body, mind, and words in varieties of ways. So full engagement is available for our body, mind, and words. Otherwise, if we at any time, while performing devotional service, we also engage in some material activities, then those material activities will simply become obstacle for our progress, for our complete purification. It's like somebody is trying to build a fire. So you cannot keep pouring water while they're trying to ignite the firewood. So Prabhupada says that these material activities are like pouring water on the firewood, that through devotion, devotional service, we are trying to ignite that firewood. So this pouring water has to stop. Even though instantly, immediately, we cannot stop all material activities, gradually we have to minimize. And to help us minimize the process sadhana bhakti, we are given varieties of devotional activities, engaging all our senses, our mind, our intelligence, our speech, everything, all the faculties. And in this way, when we become fully engaged with all our faculties in serving Krishna, that's our perfection. But we have to chant Hare Krishna. So with purified senses, we're able to chant Hare Krishna, then that is the perfection. I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Some announcements before we. Today I have ended the class a little early because we are having International Online Kirtan Mela from 9:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. So it will be broadcast in YouTube, and it is the link is sent to all of you if you are already on our WhatsApp group. Otherwise, you can get the link from the devotees. We'll be celebrating Vaikuntha Ekadashi on January 2nd. Please refer the notice board for the details. We'll be celebrating Rath Yatra on 7th January. And those who want to enroll as volunteers for both these festivals, Vaikuntha Ekadashi and Rath Yatra, please register yourself for doing service. Thank you. Hare Krishna.